Hey, we're back. Remember earlier I was talking about how, stay out of the path of energy with this ram being anchored below the deck of the frame machine. I have impact forces or energy that's either going to go down or that is going to go up. So you never want to be here watching the frame rail, because if this released, it's going to come up. And for any reason that I may be down there on the floor looking at something and be in the path of that energy, well, I'm probably going to deserve to get knocked in the head or something, because why would I be down there on the floor right underneath that hydraulic ram? But anyway, never be in the path of energy, okay? So we're going to let this energy off. I don't have a lot on here. This was more just for demonstration as to, path of energy. So I'm going to let this off. Of course, you can see the frame go back up, and we have completed the goal. We've made the task. So remember, in the earlier videos, I talked about elasticity and plasticity. Well, what happened was, as you saw for yourself, this frame would move a lot, and it was going into elasticity. It's moving. But I put enough pressure on it that I went past the point of elasticity and went into plasticity. Now remember, elasticity, the ability for something to move, and when the energy force is released, it goes back to its normal shape. Plasticity is when we put a force against something and we make it move to the point where we take it just a little bit further, and then when we release it, it set plasticity. It changed shape forever. And that's what we had to do here. We had to bring this frame rail down, and we've achieved that. And I want to show you the process, the progress. I've already showed you the process. I want to show you the progress that we've made. Up here, this would be where the radiator is, the core support, what have you. We're level here. We've got the jack stands here. The jack stands are even with the deck of the machine. The machine is level. So what we've got is, this is level. And not only is this level, but if I take my eyesight through here, I've got a gap between the low side of that level to the top side of this level. When I look across it from the front, it's even. Then it's even to this. And then all the way back through here. Each one of these levels are equal when you sight down. So we're going to go to the front of the frame, and we're going to see if we can find that gap, that nice even gap between each one of the levels. So look at the aluminum level. It's right behind the transmission cross member. See that even gap? Try to take my steady hand here. Nice even gap. Now look at the gap between my first level and that first yellow level. Isn't that nice? Now, I know it's difficult, but look at the front level to the very back level. When you start seeing daylight through the levels, if that's an even gap between those levels, you know that you don't have any twist in the frame and or sag. Now, that's pretty darn good. I like it. I know that I can build the body on this frame. Now, once again, now that we know that there's no sag, there's no twist in the frame, because all the levels show equal. Remember what we did about making sure it was square. So, remember what we did? We took a reference here, and always, guys and gals, always go to the very center first. Now this is a fraction tape. I always use a millimeter tape, once again, because I like using whole numbers. I don't want to measure something and go, oh, it's 17 inches and 15 sixteenths, okay? With using metric, it's always whole numbers, okay? And it's not that hard to learn metric. You can see that I modified the foot of this tape measure. Okay, I modified that to where I can put it, cleat it into a 10 millimeter hole if I have to, or just whatever I need to do. So I am going to go to this body mount. I've got like a 15 millimeter hole here, and I am right to the very center of that, 1,723 millimeters. I got an equal reference there on the driver's side rail, and I've got the same equal reference hole on the passenger side of the rail. So now, with that 1,723, I'm going to go take the opposite diagonal measurement, and we're going to see what happens. And my camera operator is going to catch me in real life here. So I hope I've done my job right, and I hope that it still stayed at 1,723 millimeters. And I want to go to this point right here. So here we go. This is unscripted, by the way. All right. So right here we have 1,720 fat 3. Okay, so we're going to go 1,720, well, let's say 4. And the other side was 1,723. We are 1 millimeter from being square. Now, the way you can look at 1 millimeter is the thickness of a dime is a millimeter, okay? So this frame is within the dime's thickness of being square. And I'm not too sure that Henry Ford was that particular. But we've got this in really good shape, and I guarantee you, I know there's no side sway in the front, and I know that there's no side sway in the rear. So I can almost guarantee that I've got a square rear section and a square front section. So that's it with the frame. I'm ready to finish some welds for our hoop. These, of course, like I said before, these are the new hoops that we're putting in. We're going to have 2 shocks on every corner of this vehicle. We're going to have a 3.5-inch lift suspension and a 2-inch lift on the body. We have to have a body lift in order for these hoops to fit underneath the factory wheelhouses. So I've got some welds to clean up, and then I'll be putting these into epoxy, and then we will be able to do the paint work, prepping for paint. And remember also, like I showed you previously, this was the original shock mount, which was located right here. See the amount of travel distance that we're going to get now? This is where the shock was. This is where the shock is going to be. Okay? So, eliminated this. Got this. I'm really impressed with Wild Horses and this suspension lift. Got to give props to the vendor for, you know, us being able to have a nice product to get what we want as a finished product. So we'll see you. We'll probably be getting ready for paint. So talk to you soon.